Hello, beautiful souls. This is Dr. Beata, and I want to welcome you to the workshop for parents. This is for you if you have ever yelled at your kids, if you've ever lost it at them or snapped, if you have ever felt anger and irritation and frustration with your children, no matter how old they are, whether they're just babies or toddlers, young kids, even into teenagers and adults. I think most of us have been there at one point or another. What we're going to do on this workshop is deep dive into what these dragons, as I call them, mean as they're coming up. And we're also going to explore the connection between holistic parenting and holistic health and holistic healing, and how these dragons that are showing up, how they are affecting us on a daily perspective, and what we can do about it. So this workshop is here to empower you. So if you are watching on YouTube and you haven't registered yet, the link is right below. Go ahead and register. You will get the full replay and all the resources. And we would love to have you join us. We already have an international group of parents joining us for this. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen to get started. And we will go ahead. So this workshop I am calling the Discover the Dragon Within Workshop for Parents. And I know that resonates with many of you, but we're going to go ahead and explain a little bit more on this topic. So again, I want to welcome you. Go ahead and let us know where you're from, how old your children are. And I do want to mention that this may be a trigger warning for some of you. We are going to be thinking of some angry and irritated situations, some experiences that you've had. And I want you to know that you can stop at any moment, take a break at any moment, and we are here for you if you need any support. And let's go ahead and jump in. So like I mentioned, this is for you if you are a parent who feels like you're not being the parent that you'd want to be, that there's something preventing you. You find yourself yelling at your kids, you can't stand to listen to your kids crying, you have to leave the room when there's tantrums, or you start crying when they're tantruming, or you've considered being violent back. Maybe you place everyone's needs and wants before your own, or you yourself have some chronic health conditions, or your children do. And these may include things like pain, back pain, neck pain, headaches, digestive issues, food allergies, intolerances or sensitivities, maybe insomnia, cloudy thinking, fatigue, anxiety, depression, etc. This is for you. And let's go to the next slide. I'm going to tell you what to expect. In this workshop, I'm sharing 3 secrets about these dragons. One is awareness. We're going to discover these dragons, the parts of you that loses it and yells at your kiddos, how to give it compassion and understanding where it's coming from. Secret 2 is communication. You're going to be able to recognize how your dragons are communicating with you, what it means, and what to do about it. And number 3 is application, how to apply this to holistic health and holistic parenting. This is a very experiential workshop, so I'm excited to guide you through this experience. Now, what are dragons? Some of you may be thinking. I have one over here, and they've been following me all around the last couple of weeks. So dragons, when we look at their actual meaning, they are mystical and magical creatures. And I use them as symbolism as we explore our different parts. So when we think of a dragon, and if you are registered for the workshop, look in your workbook. There's a little section where you can work through this. Dragons have different meanings in different cultures. In some cultures, they are symbols of power and knowledge and wisdom. And in other cultures, they're seen as evil and bad. And I want to tie this into a concept of that we all have different parts and sides to ourselves. So have you ever thought of the fact that maybe a part of you wanted to do something and a part of you didn't? Or that you have a more sensitive side and you have a maybe stronger side? Or have you felt that maybe internal battles sometimes of these different parts of yourself coming through? I'm curious, does that resonate with you? Have you ever experienced that? And I want you to know that it is normal and very real. There is actually a study called Internal Family Systems, which focuses on this. And this is something that I tie into much of the coaching that I do. With Internal Family Systems, it's Dr. Richard Schwartz. And this is where the dragon side of us comes in, the dragon parts of us. And we're going to go through how to work through that and how to understand it as well. So I'm curious, when you find yourself yelling at your children or losing it or crying because they're tantruming or just having all of these health conditions, what have you already tried? What have you tried? And maybe some of you have tried an approach called gentle parenting. Maybe some of you have tried for your health conditions. Maybe you've tried conventional medicine, conventional therapy. Maybe you've tried for the yelling and for the losing it. Maybe you've tried conventional talk therapy. Maybe you have tried gut health and nutrition for some of your health conditions. Maybe you have tried other kind of coaching. And I want to know, what do you feel is missing? Why are you here on this workshop? I know from my personal experience, gentle parenting, I love it. And that dragon side comes out sometimes. So this is a totally different approach that I have developed and I teach. It is really different because it's holistic. We look at the root causes behind the yelling, behind the losing it, behind the crying. Once we identify and address the root cause, then we get real change. And that is what is missing in many of these other approaches. When we do talk therapy, it may give us some insight. And unless we really look at what the root cause is behind all of these feelings and emotions that we're having, we may not make as much progress as we want. Or if you have tried for health conditions, right? Maybe we've tried the nutrition and gut health aspect, and we're totally missing the emotional health, the mental health, and the energetic and spiritual health aspects. You may not be making progress. You may not be seeing improvement. So with this approach, there's a direct translation to improved health, improved happiness, and well-being of your family and household. And the cool thing is generations to come. And that is the power that us parents have. When we start to heal ourselves, we heal our children, and that just passes down through the generations. So a couple more questions just to get you thinking of where you are, where you're starting at. How are you feeling around your parenting? How are you feeling about your health? How are you feeling around your children's health? And where do you want to be? Where do you want to move towards? So for those of you who haven't registered and who don't get the reminder emails, I want you to have a fluffy pillow with you and something to write with, because these little questions are really important to go back and take some notes around. Explore what your feelings are around them. So it doesn't mean that you need a journal, just a pen and paper works, or even your notes app on your phone. And I want you to take a few minutes to think of these things. What are your feelings around them? Your parenting, your health. Where do you want to be? Where do you vision yourself? So go ahead and pause the video right now. I give you permission to take a few minutes for yourself. You deserve it. And take a moment to reflect. All right, good. So now let's keep going. And I want you to know that you are not alone. Many parents feel very stressed, and health conditions and challenges are very common. So in a study in 2017, Lindstrom and Roskam found that 8 to 36% of parents experience parental burnout, which is overwhelmed stress, where they just can't take it anymore. Now, this was done in 2017, and at the time of this recording, it's 2022. So we are going through the pandemic right now. And I bet that these numbers are much higher now than even back then. Now, with health, 27% of children in the US have a chronic condition. And this is per the CDC. 32 million Americans have food allergies, including 5.6 million children under the age of 18. That's 1 in 13 children. So 2 in every classroom, and about 40% of these children with food allergies are allergic to more than one food. Now, this is my area of absolute expertise. I help families with all sorts of health conditions, but this is my subspecialty, and this is what I'm extremely, extremely passionate about. And then on the right here, you can see that chronic disease in America isn't just youngins, right? It's 6 in 10 adults have a chronic disease. 4 in 10 have 2 or more. This is huge. So many millions and millions are affected by this. Now, the CDC is looking at things like heart disease, cancer, chronic lung disease, stroke, Alzheimer's, diabetes, chronic kidney disease. However, they're not looking at things like digestive issues, autoimmunity, which is at all-time highs. They're not looking at mental health. These are things that are not even being tracked, and they are extremely prevalent. So I don't want you to feel alone if you're experiencing these challenges and thinking there's something wrong with me, it's just me. No, there is nothing wrong with you. This is a stress response, and this is why this holistic approach is so important. And that's the good news. A holistic, integrative, functional approach which identifies and addresses the root causes creates real change, real transformation, real improvement that you notice day in and day out, and absolutely transforms your experience, not just as a parent, but the health and happiness of your household, and again, for future generations. So what happens when you go to the doctor with a headache? I'm going to give you 2 scenarios. So Dr. A you go to, and they go, okay, you have a headache, here's some prescription, take this medicine, and you'll feel better. Now, a portion of people will take the medicine and they will feel better. Wonderful. And a portion won't. Maybe they'll feel better for a short amount of time, and then when the medicine wears off, the headache's back. Or they take the medicine and it doesn't do anything at all. And that group, the root cause isn't addressed of the headache, so the medicine's not helping. It's not making a real change. Now, if you go to Dr. B and same thing, you say, I have a headache, they do an assessment, they do an evaluation, and they come up with a hypothesis that this is the root cause. Let's address the root cause. Now, as a doctor of physical therapy, I see headaches very often, and often they are a cervical or a neck joint dysfunction. So if we identify the neck joint dysfunction, if we treat it, the headache goes away. And then you don't need medication. We don't need these other things. Or maybe stress levels are affecting this headache. If we learn to manage the stress, if we learn coping skills, if we learn to say no to some things, the stress goes down and then the headaches go away. So can you see the power of addressing the root cause, identifying it and addressing it? That is where the real resolution happens. And sometimes there are multiple root causes. That is a very real thing. So this workshop, after this, you will feel confident and empowered. You'll be able to recognize your dragons and have the skills to work through them. You'll understand how the dragon affects all aspects of life, health and happiness. You'll have the strategies to apply it to holistic parenting, holistic health, and healing for moms, dads, and children. You'll have a transformed experience with parenting, and you'll be able to build strong, healthy relationships with your little ones. And it translates into a transformed, happy, and healthy household. So you are here because you want to be a different parent. Yes? Yes. You are here because you want to have better relationships with your children. You are here because you want improved health for you and your family. So the first secret that we're going to be looking at is we're going to be discovering your dragon side, the part of you that loses it and yells at your kiddos, how to give it compassion and understand where it's coming from. Secret 2 is communication, and then secret 3 is application, which we'll work through further down. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Beata Harashim. I am a doctor of physical therapy and a fellow of the American Academy of Orthopedic Manual Physical Therapists. I specialize in working with families, moms, dads, and their children who have health conditions, who have health challenges. Maybe they are having mental health challenges with becoming a mom postpartum. Maybe they have health challenges from the allergy perspective, like I mentioned before. Maybe they are breastfeeding and experiencing challenges with reflux, or maybe there's eczema or colic. This is what I specialize in and what this workshop will be tying pieces together for you with. Now, I want to introduce you to the reason all of this exists. This is my daughter, Claudia. She was born in 2017 with severe food allergies through my breast milk. And she had multiple needs. So medical needs, food allergy needs, sensory needs. And if you are a parent experiencing this, you also know the levels of stress and overwhelm that go with this experience. We love our children and we will do anything for them. And it still may be stressful and overwhelming. And especially with sensory needs, for those of you who don't know what that means. So sensory needs are any of our senses, or 5 senses. Certain people, children, people, adults, may have a sensory processing disorder where loud noises are not tolerable, or certain textures or sensations create a level of anxiety and panic. Now, with this come tantrums, especially if your children have been toddlers or are toddlers. And tantrums can be extremely challenging for us parents to be able to regulate our emotions during them, to meet our children and to support them through these big emotions that they're experiencing. These are normal and important for us parents to know how to work through. So that is why this is so important for parents to know, because all these experiences that our children are having, when we have a holistic approach of how we can look at ourselves in the situation, how we can look at our relationship with our children, and how we look at our health holistically, we can have real change and transformation and healing happen. Now, from Claudina's perspective, and most perspectives, we need a nutrition approach, we need a gut health approach, we need an emotional approach, we need an energetic and spiritual approach as well. So the bottom picture here is Claudina at 4.5 years old, playing on the playground at school. She is happy, she is healthy, she is developing well, she's learning, and she is an absolute joy. And I want you to know that it is possible for you as well, especially if your children are babies and really young toddlers and you are struggling through this experience. I want you to know that there are things that can help. There are things that beyond just the nutrition thing, beyond just avoiding allergens, beyond just taking probiotics for gut health. There's so much more to gut health than just probiotics. When we look at this holistic approach, that is when we can get healing, when we can get absolute transformation and progress. So I want you to rate yourself from 0 to 10. I want you to rate yourself. And this is where that piece of paper or journal comes in, or your notes app on your phone. I want you to write down A through E. And I want you to write down your gut reaction, the number that comes to you first, the free association. 0 is this does not apply to me at all. 10 is that this applies to me totally. So A, how happy are you going through your parenting journey currently? 0 to 10. B, how healthy do you feel? And this includes mental health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, energetic health. 0 to 10. C is how overwhelmed and stressed do you feel in this place on this journey? D, how confident are you when your child cries, tantrums, or has emotional outbursts? E, how aware are you of your emotions and how they affect daily life? So if you are watching on YouTube, this is where the recording stops. And I encourage you to join us for the full workshop. The link is right below. You get the full replays, you get all the resources, and you also get a one-on-one guidance call where we can get to know each other, get questions answered, and learn how to work together further. Now,